Hi folks, welcome to the Team GSP podcast. I suppose we've got an upgraded version of what we do. We've now got cameras for YouTube and we're going to be cutting shorts and bits and bobs for Instagram to get more traction onto the strongman chat and scene and all that. So kick it off as usual there, Cilléin, you've got the topics.
Yeah, so today we're just going to basically talk about the OSG competition from yesterday. Going to go through a bit of a breakdown of it. So I think all in all, very, very successful day. I think especially on the women's side of things.
Absolutely.
Really, really good performance, like compared to like some of the last years. There's just not many women competing at it, like so.
We didn't have one pull-out.
No, not a single one.
None of us, we were all thinking about it over the weeks. And it got to, I think, 3 days out or 2 days out. And Kayla put a message into Strongman Irelands group, went, I hate to say this shit. Well, not to hate to say it, but we've had no pull-outs. And I was like, I know, I was thinking the same thing. So fair play to everyone those women. We had more women than men compete yesterday.
Was it the exact same?
Was it the exact same thing?
Oh wow, that's class.
Okay, so 22 women, not one pull-out. And Jesus, did we raise the roof?
Definitely. I think the women stole the show. I think the women and the under 80s men definitely were
Absolutely, and that was the
most
general
entertaining,
consensus, I think, coming back.
And I think with the under 90s, under 105s, Gav doing both of them, like
stole
kind
the
of
show.
like
It's just sick, wasn't it?
It was to do 10 events. It's just so that's kind of why he's world champion though. As well, at the same
I think it's a little bit. Yeah, you had just that one level up from the crazy that we normally have. I think.
So let's go quick through the winners of the competition. So under 64s at Ayshea McGrath, under 72 we had Mary Egan. Under under 72s. Under 82s we had Jade, and we also had Laurie competing. Laurie's French, so we kind of had a little bit of a, she guest lifter, yeah. So I mean, phenomenal
But
performance.
it does get her a look in, because it's the official strongman comp,
They seem
more
very
official
impressed.
strongman
Yeah,
comp.
so-
Dave Warner was impressed with her performance, so there is a possibility of her getting invites based on that.
Yeah.
And I suppose
performance
just
of her
to give a little bit of understanding, that is France has at the moment had, well, I think it's supposed to be growing, especially with the natty scene, but there is like only 6 or 7 competitive females in France, and that's across all weight categories.
That's crazy.
Right, so she has actually had to. They come over here for a couple of months of the year. The past couple of years, I'm coaching her. She is having to go. Quite similar to me actually in the beginning. Is having to go to other countries to get competition and get that experience. And she'd done that European Pro Strongman League a couple of weeks back, and now it'll give her that bit of exposure. So it's good.
I mean, like she's still young as well, like so she could really be like the big push that France needs for the sports.
Absolutely.
You know, so I mean, when you watch her compete, it is phenomenal. So you're going into the opens then, Gemma, Gemma's really come into her stride the last couple of years. To be honest, like you're really starting to see she's starting to become a whole athlete.
Absolutely.
Like she really is a whole package. And then going into men, Kyle Scott did it again. I mean, like the man is he's on fire.
Do you know what gets me about Kyle?
Yeah.
It's always tight towards the end, but he just always, of course, with
hits
stones,
the nitrous.
Kyle's class them.
Yeah.
But like Fingal's finger at Worlds, he just, like you said, hit the nitrous. And he just took off and fucking won that. He's just so good.
Yeah. See, the thing as well is like when you look at, say, like Liam McConville is world class, and he is head and shoulders above all the under 80s, and then Kyle is just head and shoulders above him. And then again, like, it's just
You know, they were tied on points going into the stones.
Were they? Yeah,
they were.
Wow. Holy crap! I didn't think it was that close. Yeah.
I think Kyle probably dropped a lot of points on the deadlift. There was a lot of good deadlifters. Sean Cassidy's a good deadlifter. Lee Kelly's very good as well. So I think Kyle might have dropped a lot of points there.
Probably the closest battle they've had.
Yeah, but then like you look at it and you go, it's stones.
It's stones. Yeah.
No one's touching Kyle here.
No. It doesn't make sense how we can just pick it up so quickly. Like there's not a single, especially with that stone record, there was no struggle throughout the whole thing. Like, you know, he's just brilliant.
It was like 2.2 times body weight stone or something like that.
It's insane.
It's nuts.
Absolutely
nuts. And then under 90s and under 105s, as we said, Gavin McNamee he did all 10 events, just so people know. Like he didn't, you know, just kind of come in and out of it. Like, so to do full 10 events in one day and win both categories is
it's crazy impressive.
Nuts. Like we've seen Claire Moyla do that in OSG.
In 40s and 50s,
40s, 50s, that's spread across 2 days. But like to do 10 in one day.
3
like,
days.
3 days. Well, there you go. Like to do, I don't think there's many other people maybe in the world other than Gav who could do something like that, to be honest, at the moment. Like, cause, I mean,
I'd imagine his body's quite tender today.
I would say so.
Mine
is. Mine did 5.
Especially with the overhead, like, I mean, like, overhead being a weak event for him, like, he still did fairly decent. Like, I know coming into the under 105 weights was a bit more of a struggle for him, like, but, you know, considering it was always his weakest event, it was definitely such a huge improvement on that one.
Yeah.
And then Masters, everybody's favorite, Ray Foley, 45 years old if you didn't know. And then, and then of course, Claire Dolan, who was just phenomenal to the very end.
And again,
I think
someone
most
who
people
has
would have thought like of Dolores.
I thought Dolores, yeah.
Gail's
100%.
not there, so everyone's like, okay, this is Dolores.
Dolores, yeah, that's what I was
But
thinking. Like,
again, I think if you watch Claire over the past year, she's just
chipping away,
and improved a lot. And again, no more than between myself and Gemma, Dolores turns 50 this year.
That's nuts.
Yeah, sorry, Dolores.
She can still move. Like Dolores.
Dolores turns 50 this year. She's probably the oldest
Active strongman
we have in the country. Yeah.
Phenomenal.
And still strong.
Still strong as fuck. Her stones are so class.
Like savage.
Farmer's yoke.
You see her training, and that woman, right, does not stop. She hikes mountains. She's probably out up a mountain now today. Like, she makes a show of the lot of it.
She kind of does actually, because you will see her probably like in the next couple of days. She probably will have hiked a mountain or something like that. You see it days after comps where she's just gone off.
Pure savage.
Phenomenal.
Yeah. So
Absolutely
so when you kind of take it, I think Claire is only just into her 40s, into the Masters.
Yeah.
So there's a good almost 10-year age gap there. So
going into I think it's worth to note that both Ray and Claire going out had both ankle injuries coming out to do the stones, and they still did really, really, really good on the stones. So especially being in the Masters, I mean, I think that's a real true testament to what they're actually capable of. So I suppose going to a bit of a quick run through the events. The first one, the silver dollar max deadlift. An entertaining event, but I think just with the day, it kind of dragged it out just a little bit too long on it.
From the promoter's point of view, halfway through it, I was like, fuck, I should have not had that event in.
Yeah.
I think I was looking at the list of athletes and going like, there's like 6, 7 in these categories. A lot of the women's had 5 in it. And I was like, like the numbers aren't wild. But I should have just added it all up to 44 and gone, oh fuck, that's going to take forever.
Yeah.
Even though we had 2 at a time, because with the silver dollar, there's a lot of setup and stuff.
It is.
No, it was very cool. And I think the crowd really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Like seeing Gemma go out and do 300 for a female to go out and do that,
From
15 inches, that's wildly
absolutely,
impressive. And see like some of the massive numbers the lads were doing as well. And again, I think they really enjoyed it, but from my point of view, it just dragged the day on too long.
It did.
And nearly between, the deadlift for the women and then the men, and then going into the next event, we were nearly 2 hours in.
2 hours, yeah, it was at least 2 hours.
It was just way too long.
Yeah.
So like hands up, that is my fuck up right there.
Well, no, because we as Strongman Ireland as a group, we kind of all agreed on that. So we just didn't envisage how long it was going to take with the amount of numbers.
I should have known better.
Yeah, well,
I've ran enough comps at this stage, but at the same time, from the entertainment
look, you're
point
not
of view,
perfect,
I'm
darling.
not perfect. No, I like to think I am. But
that's on record now because you always think you're fucking perfect.
You heard it here first.
From an entertainment point of view, though, I think it was quite good.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to have some cool, media and stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
Photos from it.
Savage stuff.
Yeah.
Looking forward to seeing some like really bendy bar photos and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. Then going into that, we had the overhead. So basically, it was a log into
axle.
Log into axle.
Log axle. Back and forth.
Yeah, for reps. And again, I think like some of the women, like Mary Egan and Laurie, did just phenomenal.
I think as well, just to say as well, just to go with Mary. Mary is a phenomenal athlete. Mary was out for the entire year last year.
Yeah.
So just a quick one on that. She ended up with some really bad knee issue, and for her, this was like a real kind of comeback and. Show us where you're at. So it was a first proper run out. I know she done INSF actually a few weeks back, but just to be able to get that in the bag now
consistently.
Yeah. So just to show like for people where she come back from.
Be good confidence for her now as well, going into like the international.
Absolutely.
For the rest of the year. She's going to have UK and Ireland's coming up, and then Natural Worlds following that later in the year. So
great thing, especially coming up from being an under 64 athlete into the under 72s. 73s, yeah.
No, she is going to go back to 64 for international
competitions. Yeah, I mean, like there is always that benefit to be doing competitions that are heavier for you than instead of just constantly fighting to stay at the lighter weights.
With Laurie, she's a 73 athlete, put her up to the 82, so she could have done the open weights in fairness.
She was, she probably could have,
But it is, I think, we've always spoke about that with the weight categories. It's better sometimes to be able to move between them for a bit if you can to get that experience.
Definitely, yeah. It's difficult as well if you're constantly fighting to stay at a certain weight because you're never really going to progress.
And continuous weight cuts as well.
Especially if you're new to the sport, especially if you've been doing it for maybe 5-10 years, so you've already got that base build up. But if you're new and you're just constantly keeping yourself down, it can really kind of be pulling yourself back in your overall
it can definitely hinder progress.
Right, of course.
Yeah, sorry. So after that, then we had the yoke.
Yoke in
Next,
the bag,
yeah, yoke in the
Yoke in the
sandbag.
bag, yeah.
I think that was a very exciting event.
I loved that event.
Yeah,
There was some exciting moments.
So we had a similar event to that at INSF Nationals, but obviously in the gym we only had space for one lane at a time. I just knew in my heart, I was like, we need this 2 lanes at a time. Because you're going to have like the under 82s where Jade is ahead of Sharon the whole time. She kind of half doesn't get the bag right. And then Sharon spots that and Sharon takes off, sprints with the last bag.
And loves over there.
I've
never seen her move as fast with the bag. Like, she's like,
I think when she's seen Jade struggling, it's lit a fire under her.
She's like, I saw her fumble in the bag, and I was like, this is my opportunity.
It was so good to watch. And there was so many with the lads as well, where lads are just, they're neck and neck and back and forth the whole time. From a crowd and like watching it. I actually stood up in the stands for like 2 or 3 runs and watching down. I was like, this is actually class to watch. It was so entertaining. And I think that's what we need if we want to get regular people into Strongman and get excited about it. I don't know if it's necessarily the deadlifts and the overheads that get people excited. They're good for like social media clips and stuff. 300 kilos, wow.
It's sometimes difficult thing for people to perceive 300 kilos. Like they go, oh, that's really heavy. But
most people like watching. Like everyone likes watching fighting, not everybody, but a lot of people watch it. They like seeing a head-to-head combat. It's probably as close as you're going to get in Strongman to a head-to-head battle where people are inching each other out, and then someone fucks up. It's like, oh my god, and next thing the other person overtakes them. I think it's more of that. I think is what we need.
The entertainment value of it.
The entertainment value. Ayshea and Gemma with the frame. I know we haven't got onto that yet. But like they were like that the whole way, and like what was between them?
0.1 of a second.
0.1 of a second.
It's because he was too slow on time. This was Cilléin said you should have done this.
Yeah.
Like, he went.
It's
not my friend anymore.
That's what's going to get people into Strongman more so is them.
That entertainment.
The average person looking at it from the outside.
Absolutely,
Yeah, definitely. So again, that was the next event. The frame carry, was definitely a nail biter of events. Like I know there was some people weren't too happy with the setup, but
it wasn't even the setup.
Let's call it as it was. There were some people saying one of the frames was, I don't know what they're trying to say about it, but
they were like they thought it was slippier.
They thought it was slippier than the other one.
I made them frames. I cut the handle. The handle they're holding on to is 33 mil tube. I cut them off the same length of tube. There can be nothing different about them. So I don't know where this theory was coming
This was the other issue with this, right? And I said this to someone that said, those frames were finished Friday night, right? When you finished drilling the fucking handles into them.
Derek did it, actually.
No one's been able to, blame Derek, but no one else no one had used them. They're brand new. You did a crash test dummy, right? They're perfectly balanced. It's a fucking grip challenge, lads. If you couldn't hold on to that, right? I'm going to call anyone out on this. It was a grip challenge. If you couldn't hold on to it, that's a you problem, not an equipment problem.
We actually weighed as well to make sure they're balanced. Every bit of timber that was cut was weighed, so that like we made sure, because some bits of timber there was like 0.3 in some of them. We balanced every bit of it out to make sure that the frames were perfectly balanced, and it was a fucking pain in the ass. But we wanted to make it right.
Exactly, and I know how anal you are about. He had like little pieces of paper written out. He's going, keep the groups together. Got them weighed. I'm like, oh my god. So no, I didn't swap the papers around just to mess with people.
No, but like look, it comes down to people's grips not being good enough.
Absolutely, it was a grip event. It wasn't a speed event, even though we made it look like a speed event at times. But that's because the grip was good. If your grip was good, you were gonna flew them.
I'd say like the handles probably were maybe slightly thicker than your average handles on say like some people's kind of equipment stuff.
Our farmers are 30 mil handles, and these were 33 mil handles.
33 mil handles,
So
but you know what that is? That's Strongman. And if you don't go around and use, we've had this podcast. If you're not going to get off your hole and go around and use other equipment, don't flip and moan when you get to a competition.
So you even see it in like some of the other bigger comps where they have a frame there, and people who usually do good on farmers and stuff, they can't budge it off the ground, or they pick it up and you see it dips on some people because they're not grabbing it in the center and stuff like that. And
which we had nearly a couple of disasters. Poor Aaron McLaughlin it kind of came over his head and we pulled it back down.
Luckily enough.
I think Sean Cassidy hit the front as well off the ground.
But
once them lads got going, they were actually fine.
Because there was multiple people who were on that lane who absolutely blitzed that event. So you just cannot use it as an excuse, because there are a lot of people who just don't train their grip at all. A lot of people avoid it. They see it as being a tedious thing to do at the end of your training session, but it's absolutely imperative for the sport. And I think that event really did kind of highlight that. From
an entertainment point of view, though, what did you think?
I loved it. Brilliant. Yeah, I love it. Frame's one of my favorite events just to train and to watch, because especially when you get a big wooden implement like that, it's there's a lot more kind of wow factor than just a small frame with a load of like plates thrown on top of it. And I think even for the fans to watch, like they can kind of get a bit more of an understanding of a big lump of, even though it was only like 100 kilos.
It just looks impressive.
But it looks like a small car.
It
Do you know
does,
what I mean?
yeah,
Like you're picking up a little, a small. It does give people a bit more perspective. Going, Jesus, I know how much a lump of timber kind of can be heavy.
Yeah.
So there's loads of that, and that you can see that. So and it just looks class. It's a cool piece of equipment. Like the wood and the steel. It's kind of old school.
Yeah. I suppose maybe like one thing to kind of just talk about with kind of like with Ray, when he was doing his event. And I think with Ray, it's like he's just so wildly powerful. If anybody don't know what happened with Ray, he ran so fast back and forth, and then just towards the end, he was just losing control of himself because of just how powerful he is. And then he fell forward, and the frame kind of like fell on his ankle a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think there is a lot to say about like knowing how to actually control your strength, because you do see some people in competition where they drop so many points because they're just moving too fast and they're
frantic.
frantic. They're not staying in control of it. You see it with like Evan Singleton, where like Evan Singleton is probably one of the best strongman athletes in the world, but like he drops so many points and he doesn't do himself any justice just because he's just such a maniac with it. And you know, like I trained with Ray a few times on that, and it just like Ray just doesn't really understand how much power and strength that he has.
Yeah.
And if he just pulled himself back a little bit and kind of honing in, and like again, I've seen it with a lot of other people where, and I've done it myself, where sometimes you're running with a sandbag and if you're trying to run at your true 100%, it's not going to happen. Like it's like you have to go 95%, because if you go 100, it's just like everything kind of goes out the window. And
that's kind of what happened with Ray yesterday. Like,
it was, yeah.
Luckily, he was fine. And he continued on and on stones. And
Strap it up, he said. Like, oh my God. Okay.
Yeah. Because I think when the crowd found out that Ray was coming out to do the stones, it kind of it brought a lot of life back into it. Like I think a lot of people were worried, but he's a fighter. He's an absolute fighter for that one. And the last event then was the Max Stone.
Yeah, it's class.
Which is something I don't think I've ever seen that in competition the way.
I stole it from Scotland.
No, did you?
Yeah. I think I've seen it in Martin Lennox's comps.
Okay.
I know Stephen was talking about it to me before, Stephen Wiley, and how it ran. So I just went with it. Yeah, I was like, this sounds really cool to me. And like each category was relatively quick.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Because I remember when you explained this to me, and I was trying to kind of wrap my head around it. I was like, how the hell is this going to look? How is it going to work? But when you're actually doing it, like it was really nail biting, to be honest. Like, and I think it gives a lot of people like, because when you're doing a stone run, like it is kind of hard to actually really hit the heavier stones when you've done multiple ones in a go.
Yeah.
So I think especially having like 20 seconds, I think is more than enough to actually kind of get it. Like, and you've seen some people where they failed the first attempt, and then we were shouting, it's like, you've got 5 seconds to lap it, and then if people don't know, if you got it back up onto your lap,
we gave an extra 5 seconds.
Yeah, to kind of go for it then. Like, but yeah, I mean, like especially with like yourself and Gemma. I mean, because you'd already
crowd went crazy.
Crazy.
I
mean, it was
really want to see the video.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think I went crazy. Everybody went crazy for that, to be honest. Like,
I think again from so I'm always looking at the entertainment. I'm coming back to the entertainment of it for like regular people and the fans. That was a really exciting event.
It was. You could hear it.
Two women go to 140. Mary Egan in 73, she got to 100, won it.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh,
they went mad.
Yeah.
She told me before the comp she was going to do as little as possible because she wanted to train hard this week for UKs.
Yeah.
And like the pressure of the crowd screaming at her, she was like, oh, fuck it, so. And she went try. She didn't get the 110, but she went out to give it a pop.
Yeah.
I don't know if she fake tried it or she actually tried it.
She came back in and I was like, nothing like peer pressure. And she went, you fuckers.
So like that, and like under 80 men, 4 of them hit 160.
Yes,
like, and the crowd was going nuts as well for that. So
yeah.
again, I think there was really good entertainment value in that to see 4 under 80 men go straight out after each other and hit 160, and then 2 open women hitting 140 one after the other, and then attempting 150. I had to roll the 150 over. I didn't think I'd have to bring it over.
He rolled out and I went, I haven't got 160 in me. And he's got, it's 150. I thought, I don't know if I've got
He gave it a good go though. Like,
it come off the ground up to my knee.
Yeah,
so
I'd say if you had,
cool.
I'd say if both of you had a rest, I think you probably would have got it,
yeah.
to be honest, like, especially because like you've done that in training. Well, you unknowingly did it in training at first, like. But
no, I did the 140 in training.
That's what I'm saying. Like, remember we thought it was the 120 stone,
yes,
and it turned out afterwards that it was actually
the 140.
Like, so
and it was over 46 inches.
Yeah. So I think to actually get that in competition was.
That's what I was saying to you. To get it in comp was like that was class.
At the end of such a heavy competition as well.
Yeah.
Like,
which was very, very cool. So we now have because I know Gemma had done a 145 stone, but it wasn't official. She did it for qualifiers, I think, online qualifiers last year.
Okay, right.
So I held the record at 130. She'd done a 145. I'd done a 140 in training. So we both had unofficially done a heavier weight.
Yeah.
And she'd actually said to me, she goes, Irish record, she said, do you fancy giving it a go? I said, we'll see how we feel when we get out there. So when the 140 was the last stone, and after the 125, that one had felt quite difficult. So I wasn't sure. For the 140, it was actually grand.
Grand, yeah. No, it was really fucking good.
Yeah, no, I was delighted. So we and again, it was a good one for the crowd.
For the crowd, yeah, definitely. I especially think it's after such a long day, like the crowd really, the energy levels really kind of came up towards that last event. Like, you know,
That's always the worry, like about the day going on so long. Is will the crowd just fuck off? Or will they die off?
Yeah.
But they all stayed.
they all stayed,
Everyone
they
stayed
stayed
pretty much,
consistently.
And they were energetic to the end as well.
Yeah.
From an athlete's point of view, so for the whole competition, like how did you find it? Like the whole thing.
Well, I suppose I've been around the fucking block with competitions more than yourself, but I suppose more so I have the OSG experience of like over 3 days, 6 events. Like, as the competition lengthwise, it didn't really bother me, but it did with the fact, like say the events with the deadlift. I know there's a different way; it's difficult, but say myself and Gemma at the deadlift, that event, we weren't coming out until
You're above what weight?
we were an
40
hour,
minutes?
I'd say almost, after our last lift, before we actually came out to pull, and then we literally were after each other, and then I had to follow myself on a 290. I was still seeing stars, from a 280. So I know I've done more in training, but I just knew I know I'm good for 300, but even 290 was going to be a push, and it was just too quick. I came out and I was like, this is not going to.
See, the speed of competition is totally different. I think that's where a lot of, say, the newer kind of athletes might not realize, and they get quite frustrated. Is that like, when you have that kind of quick turnaround in time, that you're not really going to hit your best.
Absolutely.
And then that really kind of plays into people's heads, because then they're like, oh my God, I'm not doing what I should be doing. And then that has a knock-on effect.
Yeah.
Like, but actually just having that experience to know that like it's just the speed of the comp and you're not getting the rest time, and there's so many other factors to take into play.
Other than that though, I think the time between, I know it went on for long and we're not used to that from our competitions. It wasn't an issue for me. I think people were saying, they're up and down.
Yeah, the up and down of it all.
You go to OSG, you do an event, you have about 4 hours, and then you do an event, and then you have to go home, and then you have to do that again.
Lucky
The first day was like 8 hours, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was nuts.
Jesus.
So that, I suppose, I have learned to kind of assess the situation and go, okay, this one I need to keep my adrenaline, this one I need to be. But personally, I think it was so good. The venue was awesome. The people, and again, I know I have a vested interest, so people are probably fucking saying that anyway. But I normally speak the truth on what I'm having to say. The venue for the women, aside from the men, because we know we've done it for the lads.
Yeah.
The black box of the venue was the best stage that the women have had. We did not fail.
Yeah.
We came in, there was no pullouts. We came in there, we gave a show, we raised the roof.
The women performed.
They did.
The women did perform.
They gave it their all.
Absolutely.
Really.
And to see there were women who, this was their first major competition. This was women who have only done 2 competitions before, and their second one is a national, the Ireland's strongest woman.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Yeah,
definitely.
There's nothing. I'd say the only thing I said to you from a technical point of view, I'd say put some lights along the side. That we have to get some lights up
Down the back,
because you couldn't see shit.
Yeah. This is the holding area.
Yeah, the holding area.
Or one of the holding areas.
Yeah, down the side. But the system works really well. We have that round robin. You go behind the curtain, so the setup is really good. We had all the warm-up equipment basically that we needed.
We're lucky to have that outside space to warm up.
We had the outside space, so. No, it was, like I said, just the deadlift I really think was that worst one for me as an athlete. Other than that, everything else was... I've been in far quicker shows. I've been in fucking longer shows. And that was long for us, but not long for me.
Long,
yeah, I get you.
I see what you mean. I mean, it's like coming from car park to a theatre in less
and I think that's the other thing we were saying.
Years.
Danielle, your sister, so for people who don't know, Danielle Groom, who was competing in the Opens, is kind of just coming back now the past year or so after having her little fella. And she actually said to me, she goes, it was really weird. She said, we drove past Galway City Gym. So Galway City Gym we held the first actual Ireland's strongest women has continuously stayed every year since 2016. And Danielle, myself, Olivia Lan, Sarah Meehan, who did we have? We had Dee.
What's her name? The CrossFitter? Margalo? Is that what you
Oh yeah, that
I don't know how to
girl.
pronounce her
Yeah,
name. Julie Feeney.
Julie Feeney
Broke her foot.
broke a foot. Who else was there? I think there was more. I felt like there was just 8 or 9, but
Michelle, no, they weren't there. They were.
Michelle Guthrie wasn't there. They were gone powerlifting. There was definitely 7. If I missed any, hang on, go on.
Cork, the girl from Cork, Karen Barry. She was with Karen Barry.
Oh yes. She's got married there the last day.
Oh, doesn't matter. Anyway,
Yeah,
54 kilo girl.
And the other girl from Mayo, Mary.
Oh yes, Mary.
9.
Mary
Barrett.
Mary Barrett. So it's definitely 9 of us.
Yeah.
I think that was it.
Yeah.
So that was us in a car park, 3 weight categories, first proper Ireland strongest woman, and 9 years later,
In the black box. Yeah.
Black Box Theatre, with media production, photos, an audience,
Yeah, and great
Massive.
and unbelievable athletes as
and
well.
unbelievable athletes,
Yeah.
22 women.
Yeah.
It's actually come a very long way when you put it that way, hasn't it?
Oh,
It has definitely. Yeah,
huge,
considering
like-
just how gritty that competition was back.
And
in
like I was saying
2016,
to you the other day, I said to you the other day how I do the biggest injury that could be done to strong women is setting it back the standard, right? If competitions and promoters start putting on competitions that are supposed to be national or big competitions, and you've got really light weights and you're doing it in a field and you're literally going to set us back.
Yeah.
We need to keep it up, keep pushing
It needs
forward.
to keep pushing forward. It really does. But yeah, so from athletes,
Yeah.
a long old
one thing you just
response
Someone who's
there.
been there from the beginning.
From the beginning.
Well, one thing you just said there that
Dinosaur.
just kind of reminded me was just like I'm glad to kind of hear that there wasn't many girls complaining that it was too heavy of a comp, which has kind of happened.
I don't think one of them. Like, I could be
because
wrong.
it has happened to me the last year since COVID maybe that we've been putting up events for comps and there's girls saying it's too heavy.
Yeah.
And it's a bit frustrating because it's strong woman.
Yeah.
It's not CrossFit. It's a strong woman.
Absolutely.
And I think it was really good to see.
heavy.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll give you a prime example, Michelle.
Yeah.
Right, so Michelle Pelkington, masters athlete.
Great.
Yeah.
I loved watching her compete the last day.
Do you know
What? The crowd
Everyone-
loved
They
her as well.
love. She really started to get
Yeah.
comfortable and she was really playing to the crowd. And everything.
Everyone said it to me. The amount of
Yeah.
people that said, "My God, how Michelle has improved over the past year."
So
And I
much,
don't mean like improved and like that she's hitting these huge numbers, but how people who've seen her compete over the past year. And again, there's a whole backstory of Michelle, as we all have as well. But I'm not going to go into it. But about 4 weeks ago, she was actually in hospital, and we didn't think that she. I was actually going like, I think maybe we just don't worry about the competition.
Yeah.
But she was like, no, I've come this far. I want to continue on. And we actually had a battle in here 2 weeks ago where she hadn't hit the 70. She was fumbling with a 70 kilo sandbag. So I was like, okay, you're going to do it. You're going to do one run of the yoke, one run of that sandbag. And she'd go a bit, she'd get like 5 meters, drop it. And I was like, you got to keep going. And I went, do you know what, Michelle? You're not going home until you actually load that sandbag. She was about 5 minutes, but she didn't give up.
Yeah.
And she got the sandbag on.
Yeah.
And we all, we had this plan in place, but we knew she was going to zero most likely that log, right? It's been a massive thing. She did not pull out that competition.
Yeah.
She did not let it phase her. And she went out there and she still gave it a damn good
She
run.
did. Yeah.
And I think that is the thing when I hear women go, oh, the weights are too heavy for me. I won't get this or I won't get that. Or one of those girls went out there, as far as I can tell, and went, well, they didn't because they went out there and they gave it a damn good rattle.
They did. Yeah. They did.
You know, like Neve hadn't hit that log.
Oh,
And she went
did.
out,
Yeah.
smashed
Yeah.
that
And
log.
I think Neve's another girl as well who I think she outplayed herself. Like
Yeah.
she just like from where how things were going with training and stuff and now to where it is now, it's just like phenomenal. Like just really, really like it's great to see.
Yeah,
It was
and
really,
I
really
think
good
she
to see.
really enjoyed yesterday.
She
I know
did,
the past
yeah.
few competitions she's put a lot of stress on herself, and this one she just went out and she got PBs and she enjoyed herself, and she again technically getting better, bit by bit getting stronger.
just staying focused on yourself during the competition as
Absolutely.
well. And I think that's between like say Michelle and Neve. That's what they did. They just went out there, didn't give a fuck about what other people were doing. They just focused on themselves
Did
and
what
just
they had to do.
and just got it done. Like
did what they had to do. So
So, Cilléin, from the referee-crew perspective, what did you think? How did you feel it went?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously apart from the long day, like I mean, I think it was enjoyable. All the athletes were very respectful throughout the whole day, and as well there wasn't many kind of hard calls to make as a referee. I mean, it was all kind of straightforward. Maybe on the overhead, I think there was like there was 2 times where like my hand came down just as the whistle went, and the way I see it is like I gave
You gave it down.
I gave the down commands. The whistle went at the same time. You know, like that's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I was just really happy just to see that, like, you know, everybody went out there and they actually just did their best. Nobody was kind of really complaining too much about the competition. And it like, apart from the deadlift, I think everything else ran very, very smoothly. So I mean like maybe kind of going back to what I just said there about women complaining about it being too heavy. I think, you know, if you look at, say, the under 90 men and under 105s, there probably could have been a lot more people competing in those categories. And I think, you know, maybe the fact that they were maybe thrown off by the weights, or the fact that, like, you know, it wasn't an INSF competition. So I think, you know, maybe that's kind of something that I was maybe a little bit disappointed in. But apart from the way that the competition ran, like, you know, I mean, I don't think the crew could have done a better job, to be honest. Like, I mean, like they really,
they were class.
Yeah. I mean, like, a fair play to a lot of them. Like,
But the interesting thing there, just quickly to say about that, is over 50% at least of those participants compete in INSF anyway.
over 50%.
Over 50%.
Yeah,
I don't think even if they're saying from a weights perspective, like it's.
I don't know what it is, but what I was thinking that might help is potentially next year not running all the categories together. I think I mentioned this to you before, where we might run the 80 men and the 105 men on a day, and we could talk to you about the 64 women and 82 women, because what you'll have then is 90 guys won't be competing on the same days as the 105s. 90s guys might do the 105s. And then the 80s guys might do the 90s because it's on a different day. Do you know what I mean? And we could run the 90s and the 120s.
And just to clarify, that's a different day with a break.
Yeah. No, it's like a month apart maybe.
Yeah.
Like the only guy that'll be doing the 90s and the 120s will be Gav, so he just have to maybe do one, or maybe just do both, whatever.
Whatever he does,
But he could then do like the 90s and 105s on, you know, if they're a month apart. That's something we could potentially look at doing. And then you'd have the 73 women and the open women, obviously, because there isn't going to be much transfer between them two categories as well. And that way you could have a lot of. You'd give the lads more competitions, essentially. Yeah. I don't know if that's a good thing. I'd love to hear people's feedback on this. Is that a good thing? Or we've now put too many comps on the calendar, and then lads have too many comps to do when on top of internationals and stuff like that, and on top of natural stuff for the natural guys. It's a tough one to balance.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Or do people want more comps?
Yeah.
I'd love to hear people's feedback on that one, because I think it's a way of getting lads doing multiple competitions.
Yeah, for the lads, I get it. For the women, we're hard pushed to get them to do
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, fair enough.
Definitely, definitely.
But you never know.
You never know.
Because I think a lot of them 80s guys are strong enough to do the 90s weights. Maybe the top 4 or 5 from yesterday.
Yeah, definitely.
They won't have to do weight cut. They can just roll into it.
Kyle, Liam, 100%.
Yeah, Lee Kelly was a 90s anyway. Sean Cassidy could definitely do 90s weights.
90s, yeah, definitely. And I mean, like it won't be too difficult to actually run, you know, those competitions if you just got those, you know, 1 or 2, like, you know, 2 categories in the one day.
Day'd be quicker as well.
The day would be so much quicker. And it wouldn't be. I don't think it'd be from our side of it. I don't think it would be too taxing on us to do that.
No,
because, like, you know, it's less people. We can get it overdone like half the time.
Now, the one thing with that is can we say, like, could we get the same crowd in the black box that we had yesterday for 2 different events a month apart or 2 months apart?
That's the only thing.
That's the other thing. Is that are we now stretching? Are we stretching our spectator ability out too much?
Yeah,
because that's it's such a twisted, difficult thing to get
right. The other
right.
side of that as well is to understand how many of the spectators we had yesterday that were purely there for the event.
I think a good bit. I was looking around the crowd, and there's people there that
I had no idea.
I had no idea who they were. Never
But
seen
I know
them
there's
before.
people like Donna who coach here. I didn't even realise until Friday. I walked in and goes, I'll be there tomorrow. So there was people who.
I met a good few lads that travelled down from Dublin just to watch it. They had no links to anyone competing.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, like Jordan Kerwin and.
Jordan, yeah.
I met Andrew Hudson at the end, and I was like, Jesus, didn't know you were here. I was like, you're there all the time. He's like, I'm here all day, just watching it. And he had no links to anybody. He said there was some women with him, I think his missus and a few others.
Yeah.
And so they all really enjoyed it as well.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I mean, considering we only had 2 weeks to sell tickets for that competition, like
we were selling tickets that were up for a while, but we just weren't pushing it
because we're rubbish, and we really need to get better at that.
As I said to you coming over here today, I want to talk to like Mary, who's doing a lot of our media stuff now, and get our posters and stuff for Irish Strength Cup lined up like
absolutely,
ASAP, so we can start pushing that really quickly.
The fact of where the venue is for that and the time of year, and there's going to be so many people coming to Galway on holidays and stuff, we need to really, really push that side of things.
So technically the tickets were on sale.
That's how we grow
for a while. They just
Strongman in Ireland again. You know. Anyway. So refereeing, and from you said your promoter's point of view, have you?
Yeah, well, kind of in and out with it. Like, so like I think I really liked the events. They were really exciting. I would obviously change something about that deadlift again.
Yeah.
Maybe a deadlift for reps or something. But again, like if it's always deadlift for reps, people get bored of it.
They do, yeah.
We do silver dollar deadlift for reps.
You love silver dollar
I
deadlift.
love
That's
it.
why you're saying that, you know?
I love all deadlifts. I do it from the floor. It doesn't bother me. You know that.
So that
I'm
would
good
be,
for it.
That would be the one thing. And I know you said about like how you had to wait for ages, but if we done like a round system like you would in powerlifting, you add another hour to the 44 lifters essentially. So it would have been 3 hours into deadlifting. So it's like, what do you do there?
One thing I was thinking is like, what if we just had the men and women going out, just a rising bar doesn't go down? Because it got to the point we went up to 300 kilo for like, you know,
For the
for
women.
Gemma,
That's what I was saying
and we
to
went
you.
straight back down for the men, and
What
we
if
had
you
to
just
work
put
our
it all
way back
together?
up.
Well, then you would have been an hour and a half waiting because you had.
But I wouldn't have warmed up. I would have waited. Because with the big lads, because they all would have been waiting as well.
But you could have waited to warm up anyway. You didn't have to warm up as
But
early as
you didn't tell me that. You're supposed to be my coach.
Well, there's silver dollar attachments back.
You
in the
literally
morning.
said to me,
I mean,
Steve,
you didn't
you're
have to.
failing.
No.
You are failing
No.
here.
I think it's impossible. It's impossible to balance it and get it right.
Yeah.
What do you do there? Do you make all the comps just for reps? And if you look at a lot of the Giants live comps that run over a couple of hours, there's rarely ever a maximum.
4 silver dollar boxes out there.
Yeah.
There
See,
you go.
this is the ridiculous stuff that athletes say. You have to be realistic with this stuff, and it's just.
I do think that's just the silver dollar setup for a max. It's just awkward for people because just to get those fucking plates out, like it's
tricky.
really, really fucking frustrating. And like for the lads as well, to continuously be doing it with just the tips of your fingers, it slows it down. I mean, like you could probably could have shaved if it was just on a regular bar. I reckon you probably could have shaved off about 20 minutes off of that event.
The whole thing.
Yeah, if it was just regular plates being slapped on and off, I reckon about at least 20 minutes, because it was the setup and the way the boxes would bounce. They were pushing the mats out as well, and then the collars as well. They were coming off the collars and stuff. So I think if it was on like, even if you used a fucking like a max axle deadlift or something like that, would have went way quicker than if it was like the silver dollar.
Like what we could do if we do the same setup again next year with all the categories, say if it does go that way, and we do have a lot of athletes, a deadlift ladder. And just make the lat bar really fucking heavy.
Yeah.
You know, then you do get your
Deadlift
max.
they're fun to watch.
They're fun to watch.
We
You
haven't
do
had
get
them in a while, to be fair.
your max deadlift strength tested at the end of it.
We haven't had a max
We haven't had a
deadlift
deadlift
ladder.
ladder in a long time, to be honest. No,
Here, like 3 years ago.
3 years ago was it here?
It was on that when we were in comps.
Yeah.
That's like,
Oh God, that's a long
there
time.
we go.
There we are. That's one. Next one, let's.
Deadlift, yeah. Next deadlift event.
count. It's done.
It's done.
It's done.
We're doing it.
They're quite cool.
Yeah.
In fairness,
Cool.
like, and setup wise, they're not too intense either.
All right. Roll it back in again.
It's all in all really happy. I think I was happy with the amount of people that were spectating and the energy and the buzz, and I think Dave Warner made a good difference on the mic as well.
Yeah.
I think something we're
He's got
missing
the
for our
experience.
comps in the gym is getting a good MC.
His MC, yeah.
He's very good with it. Like, you know, he's got to do-
Applications will be accepted soon. I'll be able to-
Yeah. We're heading that way.
We are heading that way, yeah.
fair, yeah.
So
I suppose we can't just move on. So what's next planned? Like what do we have coming up now?
thankfully no comps for like, was it 13, 14 weeks?
13,
We need a
at
break
least.
after the last
Yeah.
few. Irish Drink Cup in Clare Galway Castle, in the courtyard of Clare Galway Castle. So the events are really cool looking there as well. We have to start working on it right away. Like we said,
Absolutely.
from the kit point of view, from the marketing point of view, all the big boys and girls, I think. The women, I'm not 100%. I haven't had a lot of people on the women's side of it say they want to do the Irish Strength Cup ASAP. I think this maybe because there's a lot of stuff going on for the women internationals and that. But yourself, Diver, Jack Harkin, like all the big boys essentially want to do it. So from that side of it, I know we're going to have a massive lineup.
Yeah.
Class 1 and 2 is already loads of entries. The venue's cool as hell.
Yeah.
Middle of July, hopefully the weather's good.
Yeah.
There is a kind of like circus tent thing that can be used if the weather goes tits up and we need to move it indoors. Well, at least over a cover.
Yeah.
So that there's an option there, which is brilliant. So, because in Ireland, you never know.
Yeah.
You know, we could get terrible
rely
weather,
on
but we've some exciting plans.
Yeah, I suppose as well, we probably need to push it as well. Not everyone internationally might know that we do a women's
Open
category, open category, and that there is the
Prize money.
prize money if we get them in.
Yeah.
So I think maybe pushing it and getting out there internationally as well.
Yeah. Like, also, anyways, listen, it's not. You don't have to be Irish to compete at this. Anybody.
exactly.
We've had people come from different countries and compete at this competition.
Well, we had
Kevin.
Rhiannon and Luke and Kevin.
Luke, a few years ago, Kevin
Coyles.
Coyles won it.
2
years, 3 years.
No, 3 years.
2 or 3 years ago.
That was post-COVID, I think, that time.
Just post-COVID, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't.
Was it
before?
pre-COVID?
Before COVID.
That's one when
Pre-COVID.
Rhiannon and Luke were here, was it not?
No, they were the year before that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They were in the early days. It was like the Cerberus Cup.
I do
Cerberus, yeah,
forget how many times we've run the damn
We've done
thing.
that so many times.
The cup, whatever it
cup,
is.
yeah.
It's going to be the Irish Strength Cup going forward, but it has been the Strong
Yeah.
Cup, it has been the Cerberus Cup, the GSP Cup. It's been
Yeah.
all
Few
sorts of
different
names.
things,
Yeah. It's like whoever wants to throw money at it. But
Basically, yeah.
in memory of Mark McGovern, it would be the Irish Strength Cup going
Yeah.
forward, regardless of who wants
Who
to sponsor
sponsors
it.
it? Yeah, and that's the understanding. But I do think maybe we just need to push the women's side a bit internationally as well.
Yeah, well, I think
100%.
I have been saying for years that I need to reach out to people. Like I think across the UK, it's very easy to get across to Galway.
Oh,
See if they
absolutely.
want to come across and fight for some money.
Yeah.
In some of Ireland's finest athletes.
Yep.
Definitely, yeah.
And given the venue, the setting, I think we should be doing that. And there's going to be cash prizes. So
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like the way, if you look at, say, the kind of progress we've made on, the other events, competitions we've done, like I don't think there's no reason why, if it's the Strength Cup or INSF or doing the OSG comp that we can't, pack out a place like the Black Box or maybe even somewhere bigger in a couple of years. And because obviously I think that obviously that's the end goal for us doing this is to get full house, massive shows.
capacities,
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. Like it's just like we're not just doing this for the crack or just so everybody can do something. Like we're doing it because we want to have big competitions, like and to grow the sport in Ireland, like and I feel like once Irish people in Ireland, once you tell them what strongman and strongwoman is, they switch on, like and they get so interested into it.
And because at the end of the day, we want this sport to be seen the way UFC is seen, or MMA, or GAA, any of those.
Yeah.
And it's so deep rooted in Irish history.
It is.
Strength games,
definitely.
even though people aren't as aware of it. You've got like to David Cilléin and that, bringing stuff like stone lifting and that. But bringing our sport to the popularity that all the other sports are. And that's when we pack out those big areas, and that's what we're trying to work.
That's what we want to do. You want to make it like so that people are itching to buy tickets for these things, and they want to get in there before other people do. And we're selling out. Imagine if so we were about half capacity yesterday, maybe just a little less than, but the Black Box is a massive capacity. Imagine if that was full. Imagine that crowd screaming at you. It was already getting intense.
It already was.
But
Yeah.
then
How good
what
would that be?
But like we said, then what that generates is sponsorship and then cash prizes for our national comp.
That's what it rolls into.
Yeah, and that's where that's where I suppose people have to understand why we're trying to get full houses is to get that for everyone.
How good would it be if we had full house and we could give the winner of every category even 200 quid to start or 250 or something like that? How cool would that be?
Definitely,
Gavin would go home with 500 quid. He won 2 categories. That's what we ultimately want to get to, and that's why we now have a media team in Motion Masters and Tony Farr Photography, and that's just help them get it out there. Get it out. That's why we're doing this podcast the morning after the competition. For anyone that doesn't realise, we're recording this at 11 a.m.
I have
the morning after.
bruises to prove it, and we're so tired.
We're fucking wrecked.
all
I picked up
brain
Cilléin. I was like, "How are you?" He's like, "Oh." He just groaned at me. Like he didn't even talk to me coming over.
Yeah.
We're fried.
It was like, what's it going to be like from an athlete's perspective, Ayshea?
We perked ourselves up a little bit for this, but as soon as this is done, we're like going to lie down again, probably.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we want to grow Strongman. We're trying to
Absolutely.
push it on. We're all very passionate about it, so we're getting this shit done.
Absolutely. What else have we there? Questions, was it? Or
Questions that you.
have you got anything else on your list?
No.
No?
I've
Okay.
ticked off everything. Oh, so the other kind of question we were just talking about was the difference between the real Ireland's strongest man and the real Ireland's strongest woman. I think that's kind of worth talking about.
We were chatting about this before, and so you done the official strongman qualifier for Giants Live, which a lot of people were calling Ireland's strongest man.
Yeah.
Personally, never recognised it as Ireland's strongest man.
Yeah.
I also don't recognise Ultimate Strongman, Ireland's strongest woman, as Ireland's strongest woman.
Yeah.
Because of the continuity of Ultimate Strongman, Ireland's strongest man, I recognise that as Ireland's strongest man.
Yeah.
Right, and this is, and like I obviously get on very well with Dave Warner. He was emceeing for us. We got this. We run official strongman through Dave because he's the tie to that. I still don't recognise his comp as Ireland's strongest man, and he never called it Ireland's strongest man. In fairness, it was more the athletes doing that.
Yeah.
I recognise to me that's what I recognise. Ultimate Strongman is Ireland's strongest man. But then from the women's side of it, official strongman is Ireland's strongest woman. That is to me that is the actual real Ireland's strongest woman. Again, continuity. It started in 2016 and it's been going ever since.
Every year, bar COVID.
Through someone or another, it's been going official strongman, and it's been qualifying people for international events the whole way through. Whereas the Ultimates women's has only come about a few years ago, and like it's still a cool competition. There's still whatever, but that's just from my point of view. Official strongman women's is for the Opens in particular is Ireland's Strongest Woman, and the weight classes obviously as well.
Yeah.
And then the Open Men Ultimate Ireland's Strongest Man is Ireland's Strongest Man.
Definitely.
It's just something we were chatting about before this.
Yeah,
and I think
absolutely.
I'd love to hear what let's hear what
Again,
people think about it.
yeah.
Let's put this out there.
Put it
Tell
out there,
us what you think, guys.
Because we know
continuity is massive.
I think so.
this is what we're trying to explain before, and I've had this discussion. It's about the continuity.
Yeah.
Like there may have been the odd comp here and there fractured, but there was never a continuity, and it never had a name, a push. It wasn't being pushed. This is a continuity, as far as I'm concerned, and I've been in every fucking Ireland's Strongest Woman since 2016.
Yeah.
And to me, this isn't
gone from the car park to the black box.
This isn't like about the promoters or the people linked to it. This isn't about Dave Warner or Glenn Ross. This isn't about the lads that are helping Ultimate now, and Nikki and the lads.
Yeah, and
or us.
Strongman Irelands or anything.
It's nothing to do with that. It's literally, for me, it's like the continuity of it. Yeah. The title has been carried through this route for years, and I think that's the way it should be. Yeah. And eventually, you never know, like something could happen where something splinters, and like you had World's Strongest Man and the IFSA split, and the Opens years and years back, and IFSA was probably recognised more, but the World's Strongest Man title stayed with that, and it kind of kept carrying through, and it is to this day. So that's all it's about to me. It's nothing to do with people. It's not. We don't like this, we don't like that.
Effort.
We're involved on one side, we're not the other. And it's just where the title has stayed. Do you know what I mean? I do a lot of hand gestures here for
anyone
listening.
I think it's about who's really put in the most effort for it, and I think you deserve to be recognised for the effort that you put into something like this.
I think so.
Like this year for Ireland's Strongest Man, I think it's the 25th year that they've had this competition.
And it kept going through COVID as well.
It did, yeah.
We actually competed in
we did,
COVID.
that was brutal competition. That was December
terrible.
By the sea.
I was so shit at
that.
You made so many rookie mistakes in that competition.
I was a moron.
That day?
That day.
Just that one day.
Nope.
But that's kind of what we were chatting about before this. We said we'd chat about it. But I think that's.
Yeah, I think it's worth kind of talk about, because you don't want to. It gets messy when you get all these splits and federations and people are claiming this is the Ireland's Strongest title, whatever.
Yeah.
And I think you just got to call it what it is at the end of the day. I could just go out there and start my own competition, call it Ireland's Strongest Man, Ireland's Strongest Woman. But if I get fucking 2 people doing it, what the fuck does it really mean at the end of the day?
Exactly. Yeah. So that's just, again, I'd love to hear what people's thoughts are on that. It would be interesting to get some more feedback on that one. Let's raise a conversation here. We don't shit on anyone.
We're not being a dick about it.
No, we're not shitting on anyone. It's just a conversation.
Have a debate about it.
Yeah.
Civil
debate.
A civil, open conversation.
No one has to fall out.
Yeah. No one needs to cry.
But onto the
questions.
Give me 2 seconds to get them up here. Okay, so actually, one of the first things that pops up here, Jordan Kerwin asked, what do you think would be the best way to grow strongmen in the minds of the general population?
That's a good question. I think just trying to actually just expose and just kind of I don't want to say educate, but I think just kind of a little bit more kind of exposure towards people, because as I said, there's been a lot of people where I meet them and they kind of ask oh, did you go to the gym? And I'm like, yeah, I compete in strongman. They're like, what, strongman? And then when you tell them, they get really interested. And then especially when I tell them that there's women doing it, they're like, God damn, I didn't think women would be doing this kind of stuff. And because you've even seen it if you look at say what with kind of INSF and stuff, where especially the ones down with Gary Barbell, there's probably a lot of them who especially because most of his family and stuff that are competing now, and some of them probably had no idea what strongman was but as soon as I think somebody picks up a farmer's walk or picks up a stone, it's just, I think something kind of switches on kind of inside them. And especially even when you see it, because again, talk about on the podcast before, but it was that day in 2016, the first Ireland's Strongest Woman, where I was just blown away.
That's right, because you were 19?
I was 19 years old, and I was just at the time I was just I did play rugby for years and was going to the gym and stuff, but I was just I wasn't really doing anything with myself, it was just being fucking useless, and then, honestly, I was being a fucking useless cunt then, but then just seeing just the determination of the women to be doing stuff like this, and I was like, I said they had more guts and determination than most men that I knew, and it was just something.
Especially when Julie Feeney dropped that fucking dumbbell on her toes, man.
Yeah, it was sick, and I think it was just, I remember I just
kept on running.
Yeah, I remember just something just kind of switched on in me that day, and I I went back to the gym like I think the next day, and I just like I had such a great training session, and then signed up for your first competition. Like, and I think I remember like the week of that first comp. I think I watched fucking Eddie Hall's documentary like 10 times. Like, 'cause it just
It fires
I
you
just
up.
I got
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was addicted and obsessed with the sport. Like, and just watching it. Like, and I do think that you can kind of rope in more people when they see strong women, in my opinion, because you know it is impressive when you see someone like Kyle, you know, lifting the world record 180 stone. But then I think, you know, people really kind of, it's a bit of an eye opener when you see like, you know, women kind of
More
going
of a
out
wow factor.
a wow factor.
Absolutely,
Like,
I
and I think it's such a great thing for women to see that they can actually do these things and to actually kind of grow from there.
A Friday morning or Thursday morning, I had to go into the piercers. This is short story long. Piercing came out, I couldn't get it back in, so I walked into AWOL piercing studio, and the piercer who came out was a tiny little redhead, right? And whatever I said, oh yeah, I hit it with the monster, I hit it with the Thomas Inch 2 days before, so I'd actually ruptured it anyway. I said, oh, I hit it with a dumbbell, I was training, and she was like, oh shit, how do you find the weights? She said, you know, the weight train, I've been here for 2 years. I said, well, I'm 5 times Ireland's strongest woman, and I'm competing at the weekend, I've got a world title. And she just looked at me and went, what? So I just had a quick discussion with her about how she could get stronger, because she's I've been doing this hypertrophy. And I was like, I walked out there going, oh my God, like, why, how were we not seen or known? And this was happening, Ireland's Strongest Woman was happening in the Black Box Theatre. And especially as piercing and tattooing is alternative, and strongman's quite alternative as well. So that's actually my brain now going, oh, right, okay, now I know where we need to put our advertising. But anyway, but I having these conversations constantly with women who go, oh, strong women, you do this? You know, so again, maybe it's getting out into the general public, trying to get into the minds of people and our friends and family, trying to encourage them to share our stuff so that their friends and family see it.
I think it just comes back to social media, lads.
Yeah, it starts with us, I think.
Everything,
for that.
So,
it does. Yeah, it's the promoters and the athletes sharing everything, getting the knowledge to the masses. Because you can reach people everywhere through social media. It's fucking free.
Like, if you think of powerlifting, that's how we've taken that kind of, I suppose, what Jay and that did. We've taken that and gone, right, okay, we can put that into strongman.
And do the media side of it.
And when we see the media videos coming out from that Mario done, like a few weeks back,
they're cool as fuck.
Fucking amazing.
So
like,
good.
Absolutely. And the lads in Scotland and England were like, oh my God. And now you see everyone's trying to follow suit with that. And I do think that's how we're going to make it. It's going to look so more exciting, but you need to share that. You need to push that as well.
I think though, from the promotion side of things, I think we need to emphasize the relatable part of strongman and the wow factor.
Yes,
so 140 kilo, we need to get videos of you and Gemma doing the 140 kilo stone. There are men, like farmers that are lifting big stones all day, building walls, whatever, stonemasons and builders, that'll look at that and go, holy fucking shit.
She'd be really handy on the farm.
But you don't know, that is unbelievable. And then they'll be like, lads, look at this. Us could do that. The frames from the weekend, they look really cool. People seeing that. I think we need to create more of a wow factor for more people to...
That, and I think as well for like novices and inters, because even like, you know, I kind of meet people where they're huge fans of the sport, but like, you know, they might not be the biggest guy and stuff, and like they really, really love strongman. But I'm just like, you know, just do a competition. Like how many times do we have like novice comps where we get people who have no fucking idea what they're doing, but they just go out, they do it, and they love it, and they progress. I mean, like we've had people who, you know, one of your clients, you know, failed 180 deadlift, and now he's, you know, fucking 180 for what, like 8 reps, 8, 9 reps. And I think that's kind of the other side as well. Where
share more of that. It's not just the freaks.
Absolutely.
I think showing the under 80 guys as well. Showing what essentially a small body is capable of doing. Because people they might think of strongman and they look at you, Cilléin, or Jack Harker, and they go, geez, we can't do that. But there's weight classes.
There's weight classes.
And there's women's classes and there's novice.
It's not just this heavyweight competition for heavy big people.
I think Liam McConville done a poster in the week in his stories about how the strongman community needs to start coming to shows and I can't necessarily get them all, come to shows and support it. But also what you can do is just share everything. And there are some people, I know there's people like Kyle Scott shares everything we post.
And Gavin's very good.
They're doing the sport a service by just sharing, not just by competing, but by just sharing everything.
Click of a button.
My mum is 73, right? And you know how your parents would annoy you on Facebook and Instagram and stuff. No, not your mum, because she doesn't go onto it, but...
Thank God.
But she will share everything we put out, right? Whether it's gym... Sorry, I'm pulling a thread here. Not just me, but anything. So if we put out a Strongman thing and she will share it. And like she's got friends all over the world through Facebook, and she's probably got more outreach for stuff than I probably have at times. Yeah. So I think, don't underestimate the power of you sharing things.
Add to
other
story.
people will see.
You don't have to write anything. Add to story.
Literally.
And like you don't know who's going to see that. Like want to get involved.
And it's getting it out there. It starts with every one of the strongmen.
Because there's loads of people, and look, you can do what you want with your own social media accounts in your own life, but there's a lot of people that are active in the sport competing that don't actually share shit. They're doing the sport a disservice.
Yeah, there's a lot of people compete, but like there's nothing going up online about what they're doing.
You've got people with massive followings, right? Who will share or will share select things, right, from the Irish Strongman community.
Share everything.
Share fucking everything. Yeah. And don't just share and tag because it's Evan or because it's, I don't know, fucking Andrea or Inez or whoever, right? Tag your local, your country. And I got onto this flipping stage there the last day when I was going on about people who support English football teams, don't support the right, and then give off stink about everything.
Start at home.
Start at home.
Yeah.
Support the people at home.
Yeah, one thing there that you just said, if you consider the fact that, like, if you look at, say, OSG and Ultimate Strongman are probably like the two biggest, like, international. I'm talking just within Ireland. Just within Ireland, you got Ultimate Strongman and OSG are the two big ones that compete outside of Ireland, but Glenn Ross and Dave Warner, they've got so much other shit to worry about because they're dealing with different countries and they're dealing with all these bigger shows. And it's like, if we want to be taken seriously as a nation of athletes, it's up to us to actually push it forward because like there's only like if they don't see that the interest isn't there, or if they don't see that there's people actually pushing it within the country, so why would they bother? It's a bad investment on their part. So I mean, it's not their responsibility to really grow the sport in the country. It's up to all of us who are doing it, because otherwise, like, people aren't going to look at us if we're not actually putting stuff up. And when you consider like this, the weight classes and like the women in this country is unbelievable. Like, I mean, like it's world class. It's fair enough. Probably the men's open is probably the most quiet out of all the categories. Enough, it's probably the quietest one out of all of us. Like,
full of bunch of big introverts. That's all you have. Big stupid introverts. You need to just get out there and start sharing shit. You're not
right. You only started pushing tickets 2 weeks ago for the black box. You dumbass. You like introverted.
Mario was slow getting posters.
Don't blame him.
It's Mario's fault. Down the back there laughing.
We know it's not his fault. You dose. Introverted.
But yeah, people just need to get more active. Like, and I'm fully with you there. People need to get more active and just get more shit.
Absolutely, yeah.
And like, folks at home. Start
absolutely.
At home. Right. Next one. I don't think we have too many questions.
I've got two from Stupid Jay Gorman, right? So I'm going to address these. So one, did you put cement in the logs because they were so heavy? And did you make the handles extra slippy with baby oil on the frame? So Jay, my answer to you is, you're not strong enough, mate. That's what it is.
I have loads of these, like, I'm still your favourite. How great was Gav from Gav? Kayla, how great was my reffin from Kayla?
Oh, wow. No introverts there, so.
No. On a serious note, Tim O'Donnell said, amazing to see INSF athletes doing so well in the comp. Not a question, but worth mentioning. And it is, like, top two in the 80s were INSF athletes in Kyle and Liam, obviously, and then Ayshea. And Gemma as well, actually, she'll be doing Natural Strongman Worlds, I'd imagine, later in the year.
All of the women.
Mary, 73s, all the women, actually, all the women, basically.
No, Nicole and Thingy she's competed. She's an athlete.
Who's Thingy?
Oh, my God.
Claire Dolan?
No, the other girl in the Opens, the young one, Aisling.
So there was loads of them, and it's great to see the natural athletes being able to keep up and push the untested athletes, and in some cases beat them.
It
is quite impressive.
It just shows it doesn't mean shit. Like,
it does, it doesn't mean shit.
It doesn't mean what people think it
genetics,
does,
work ethic, time put in.
Oh, look, we've had
we've had that conversation,
yeah, you know what I mean?
Sharon, the crowd at the comp yesterday, small but mighty. That's the way she put them. It was a class crowd.
It was.
The buzz was
fucking fair. Anybody listening in the crowd, fair fucking play to you for sitting around and fucking cheering them all on. Like, it means so much.
We would be used to really loud music here, when we were running small comps, and when I've been to bigger competitions as well, they don't tend to have music.
Music stops.
Giants was no music during.
No music,
No
and,
music,
and the crowd was purely competitors. It wasn't that time over in America. So you would hear noise, but black box, you heard your name, you heard
Voices,
command,
people.
you heard the people, you heard the crowd.
Yeah, which is what you want.
Yeah.
So it really makes such a difference when you go out there and you, especially when you hear people cheering you on and stuff like. It's just don't want to make a fool of yourself.
There's so many things here that I'm just not going to go into them, but there's only one more because it's more silly statements and questions that we'll be all day answering. Kayla, just one thing here. Seriously, the biggest Ireland Strongest Women Nationals is a good one. 22 women, no dropouts. Definitely worth mentioning. And I think we spoke about that earlier,
about it at the beginning. Yeah, definitely.
Worth noting again how amazing the women were, and the turnout was very, very good. So yeah, I'm not going into the rest of these. These are just silly. Most of them.
This is why, right? The Strongman
This is what
community.
Yeah. Because you have serious questions for us. But all in
Get
all,
your thinking caps on, guys.
no, I think all in all, there's not much else really. After the Irish Strength Cup, actually later in the year as well, I must mention that we are going to be running Natural Strongman Worlds. In the Kingfisher, in Galway as well. So we don't have much on for the next, I think it's 13, 14 weeks out from the Irish Strength Cup, but we've got 2 big comps 6 weeks apart then. So deal week coming in for you that week, Cilléin.
Get your protein shakes into you.
Actually, if people want to volunteer
Absolutely.
for any of these comps, we will be taking, because Natural Strongman World is going to be like 150 athletes, 2 days, 4 events each day for everybody.
I will say from personal experience, it's great training.
It's a great training session,
I always feel like most of my strength has come from working at these fucking comps the last 6 or 7 years.
You coached Tiernan and you didn't give him any event training.
I knew damn well, like,
the competition.
And honestly, I think it's good as an athlete to actually work at a competition and just see what kind of goes on behind it.
And I actually think as well, we said this before, if people who might be interested in refereeing, along the lines, to just give us a shout, because even if
throw you
you
into a novice comp,
even if you start to shadow, you'll be shadowing anyway.
Do
and
get
get
an
an idea
little
of
bit
what
of a training
it's like,
thing, maybe like.
Because I think so. We've had it on occasion where there are athletes who are just being wankers to the referee, and we don't we actually have a code of conduct for Strongman Ireland. Like we won't accept it if you're.
Rightly so. If you're a dick, get out.
Quite simple. If you have a genuine issue with a call, be respectful and go about it the right way. So I'd be saying that if you want to help out, or if you're interested in that refereeing side of things as well, is to let us know. But definitely I would say as an athlete, get your hands dirty and just see how difficult it is. It gives you much more of an appreciation of.
Do you know what? If you're free on a weekend and there's a comp somewhere, I'm not saying GSP comps. Go up to Seamus Lee's comp when he's running.
Absolutely.
Go offer Dave Warner help when he's running a comp. Yeah. It can be something. It doesn't have to be a huge job, but if you do something small for someone, it could actually mean a lot to the running of a competition, and it's a great way to give back to the sport.
And the people you meet as well, the connections you make.
Absolutely, absolutely. You'll make friends for life. There's guys that we coach here online that live, counties, hours apart from each other, that speak very regularly. I don't think it's because I coach them all. I think it's because they are a lot of the same comps and stuff, and they've become really good friends. They travel and train with each other now and stuff. That's cool, like.
But it's that outward.
And
look, Damien McLaughlin and Derek
and Derek, like they went out lifting the natural stones from here one day. Do you know what I mean? Like it's you meet a lot of people and become friends with a lot of people.
Exactly, because you've
cool.
got
it is
that common interest.
And it makes it more comfortable then when you go to comps, when you know people then as well.
There's people, like we're all going to Jack and Jade's wedding during the week. There are people that live hours away.
Yes, I have.
There are people that live hours away that we've become great friends with through the sport, and we're going to their wedding. And there's Gavin and Sean Diver are coming down. There's people from all over the country coming to it. And we'll have a fucking great time. Like, so you get out and you help these comps and you go and meet people, you will get friends for life.
Yeah, absolutely.
You'll become part of the wider community, and it is quite cool.
Yeah.
So just another. So that's a nice final note to finish on.
Yes, because we're running. Nothing else.
Nothing to add? Nothing. That's a decent question.
Ever hold our peace.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Right, guys. Thanks for listening.
Thank you very much.
Catch you at the next one.
All right. Bye.
Bye.